everyone and welcome. This is episode 89 of Off the Sprue. I've been away for a few weeks, but it's great to be back and it's time to put some rotors on the AH-64D Apache from Takom. Guys, you'll remember that in the previous video we put some paint on the Apache, and it's time now to add the element that makes it a helicopter. Indeed, the main and tail rotors. But before we get to that, a word from the sponsor. Guys, as you know by now, this build is generously sponsored by Supernova Studio here in South Africa. This kit is available on special, and if you stick around for the end of the video, I'll be supplying a promo code. So with that said, back to the build. It's time to fit a main rotor and a tail rotor to our 35 scale Takom Apache. And this can be found on page 22. We're at step 25, and the first thing that we'll be assembling is the tail rotor. This is quite an involved assembly, and you will find the parts for this on the A, the R and the F sprues. Quite a few parts that's required for this. Again guys, lots of small parts, so please work over a tray to make sure that you don't lose any of these parts. Now, while the rotor blades are quite big, there are some really small parts in this assembly. For instance, these little rods, you can see they have a right and a wrong way around, and I really had to look carefully at my reference pictures to ensure that I got this completely right. If you don't, you'll find that this will simply not fit together. Now, in reference pictures, I noticed that there are these cables or hoses, if you wish, and while some of the basic cables are included in the kit parts themselves, you can see there as well, we are missing quite a few, and those will have to be added or scratch built to get accuracy into this assembly. I'll be using some 0.3mm wire for this. You can use any type of wire that you have available, and as always guys, always drill anchoring holes. You'll spare yourself a lot of headache, and it's just so much easier to get little pieces of wire into place if you do this first. Sort of bending pliers works very well just to get the correct curve in there, and once this is bent to the correct shape, I can go ahead and glue this in place. You can see there the anchoring hole makes this a lot easier. I'm using a little bit of gel type super glue, my go-to adhesive for this type of work, and with a pre-bent piece of wire, just a case of gluing this in place. So there you go. This is the gearbox section as well as the tail rotor. All the additional wiring has been added, and this is now ready for primer and paint. To get to the main rotor, we page over, page 23, step 26, and you'll see there is the main rotor assembly, quite involved as well. Parts for this to be found on Sprue A, and again, first step, cut all the parts from the sprues, clean them up, and start the basic assembly. Lots of really small parts here, guys. You'll have to assemble some of these hinge sections, if you wish, by hand. I approach this by first just anchoring the little piece in place with gel type super glue, and then using my Tamiya extra thin adhesive just to glue everything in place. If you do this correctly, you'll have no seam at all. Also very small little pieces of photo etch. If you hate photo etch, please avert your eyes. And this is carefully glued in place again with gel type super glue. They certainly went to a lot of trouble, Takom, to detail this main rotor assembly. Now guys, if you are planning on folding the main rotors, it is possible with this kit. Do page forward to page 30 and just familiarize yourself with the steps in there. I'll be adding the blade fold kit, and this is also included in the Takom kit. Very important, there are additional parts that's required for this that'll have to be added to the rotor blades themselves, and of course the rotor blades are on Sprue K in the kit. Very nice indeed, as you can see there, those very realistic, very much similar to the real thing, real life, and they are actually made to be able to swing outwards to the sides in a folded position. Very cool feature of this TACOM kit. Also little pieces of photo etch to be added. And look at this, guys, so true to real life, with little pins in there just to keep the rotor blade to the main rotor mast. So there we go. The basic assembly has been done, and we can move on to the next step, which is prime and paint. As you know, any good paint job starts with a good primer coat, and in this case my go-to primer is the one from Mr. Hobby. I'll be using black primer, rattle can, and this is now evenly sprayed onto all the rotor parts. There you can see a very nice finish. I really like this primer from Mr. Hobby. Very smooth surface, and we're well set up to move on to the next step, which is pre-shading. Adding little bits of white, pure white, to that black primed surface. Guys, and you've seen me done this before many times. I believe that this is really essential to getting a very good looking paint job on my models. I pretty much do it everywhere. The next colors will be NATO Black and US Army Helo Drab from AK Generation 3. This is applied to the rotor parts, very gradually, just building up that color, not killing the pre-shading. And there we go. Once this is done, I'm going to add US Loam. You'll remember way back when I painted the cockpit, I also used US Loam on some of the black parts. And really this is just to add some visual interest, just accentuating the pre-shading I'd done previously. You can see there I am applying the US Army Helo Drab base coat over my pre-shading. There we go. And this is now ready for some additional detailing. I'll be mixing up a lighter color of US Army Helo Drab, adding some World War II German camouflage beige, in this case from Vallejo. These two paint brands actually work very well together, easy to mix them together. Both are water-based acrylics. And this is now added as a highlight color to the top section of that main rotor assembly. Next, I'm going to add some shadow areas with NATO Black, and this is applied very carefully with my airbrush at a low air pressure to the recessed areas of this main rotor assembly, just the sides there. And as you can see, this very nicely complements the highlight areas that I added previously with a light version of the US Army Helo Drab color. So with that done, I can now move on and do the same to the tail rotor. The blades are already painted, so I'll need to mask them in order not to get any green paint on them. And this is done with some masking tape. Once this is done, I can now go ahead and apply US Army Helo Drab to the rest of the tail rotor assembly. Again, using my airbrush, applying this in a very smooth coat. You can see there we go, nice and green. And this is now ready for detail painting. All the basic colors have been laid down. At this point, guys, it's a good idea just to lay down a clear coat on everything, just to protect the paint that we've already done. In order to do the detail painting, I had to take a very close look at my reference pictures. You can see there's some silver areas there, some bare metal, as well as those bolts, and those will have to be painted in by hand. Now for this, I'll be using a Vallejo detail brush. Guys, I can't say enough good things about these brushes. I love my Vallejo brushes. Highly recommend it if you can get hold of them. Using some Vallejo steel there, very thin paint. I like to keep my paint thin for detail work. And of course, you're using that very fine tipped Vallejo detail brush just to do the detail painting. It's not something you rush. You take your time. It requires a steady hand, and it's always nice, guys, just to make sure that your wrists, your hands are flat on your desk, only moving your fingers to control the brush. That way you'll have a steady hand when doing this sort of work. Also, having the paint really thin will help you to get a smooth brush finish on those rotor components. So here you can see the basic colors are down, all the detail painting is done, and we can move on and we can do some additional finishing on both the main rotor and the tail rotor. These certainly look gorgeous at this stage, and looking forward to getting some extra detail into these pieces. So again guys, we'll be applying a wash, and for this first apply a clear coat, satin in this case, just to protect the paint that we've laid down. The wash color I'll be applying is Dark Wash from MIG Productions. Of course this is an enamel product, and it can be thinned with odorless thinner, enamel thinner. For best results, do use the MIG Productions thinner made for this wash product. This runs beautifully into all the recessed detail, already molded into those rotor parts, and this goes a long way to just bringing out the detail in these finished assemblies. You can see they're looking very nice, and we're certainly a step closer to making this look absolutely realistic. Next up, I'll be using German Camouflage Beige, as well as my medium-sized dry brush, also from Vallejo. Now you've seen me do this many times before. The brush itself should have as little paint as possible on the bristles, and this is just now carefully applied to all the raised detail. Guys, and there we go. Isn't that gorgeous? Loving the finish on that main rotor assembly. Now moving forward to bending or folding the rotor blades. That is on page 29 in the instructions, item number 32. Now this is quite an ingenious system. It's a blade fold kit. I believe the correct term is the helicopter blade restraint system. This is manufactured by a company called Davis Aircraft Products. Award-winning system available for the Black Hawk as well as a number of Sikorsky helicopters, and beautifully rendered in this kit as well, so we'll be adding that. The parts for this is on the R sprue, quite a few parts, and let's start assembling this. Of course, also a lot of fine photo etch detail. Loving my photo etch. I know many people hate that. I just love this stuff, all the shiny brass stuff. That is applied with some gel type super glue, and once everything is positioned in place, I'm using a Tamiya extra thin just to make sure that everything is glued together properly. Now with this done, we can move on to the primer color, and because this is going to be red, I'm going to use a red primer, this being from Vallejo Surface Primer. I'm a big fan of Vallejo surface primers, guys. It goes on super smooth, doesn't require any thinning to go into the airbrush, and I just really love the variety of colors that this is available in. Again, yeah, I'm using some darker shade of that red. I mixed in some black, and this is now applied to some shadow areas on this blade fold rig, just to add a little bit of contrast. Some detail painting is done again with my Vallejo detail brush and Vallejo NATO black, and there we go, all the detail painting has been done. We're also going to add a wash at this stage, the same dark wash that we added earlier to the rotors, and this does a great job of bringing out all that molded detail. So there you go, guys, that is all the rotor components and the blade fold kit. Loving the finish that I was able to get on this. And once this has been fitted to the Apache model, it goes a long way to adding some very nice visual detail to the model itself, but also making it easier to fit into my display cabinet. So highly recommend it that you use the blade fold kit, a very nice addition to this kit. Guys, if you use the promo code Longbow2601, you will get a 15% discount on the price of this kit at Supernova Studio. This really is a gorgeous kit from TACOM, and it does belong in your stash. So make use of this opportunity and order yours at a 15% discount price. Guys, that's it then for video 89. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, join me on Instagram. I do frequent updates on all my builds there, and you won't miss a single thing. Very interesting things coming up in the next video soon, so do stay tuned. Thank you for watching.